Hello, this is Mitch Smith, and this is part two of how to generate unlimited high quality mortgage leads in 2018 and beyond. If you have not watched the first part of this, go back and watch the first part. It's important to understand what I was saying there and in defining this high quality borrower. That part is essential to get on the same page there before we start talking about traffic sources, which is actually attention sources. And I'll only use a couple slides from here just to kind of get this introduced. But essentially, what we're doing is we're talking about maximizing attention. So if we were to look at the various ways that people spend attention throughout their life or along this home buying journey, let's say that we had some way of reading what you're reading and measuring what we're doing and what our intention is with every single thing. Just imagine there's something throughout your day that somehow stays next to you and understands what you're thinking. And it's like when you're on Facebook, what is your intention on there? Most likely it's just to not be present and to distract yourself whenever it's going on in your life. Or maybe it's to talk to friends, or maybe a combination of both. When you're with your family, maybe it's family time. It is what it is. That's what you're doing. When anytime throughout your day, through most people's day in the United States and in Western society, and even in the Eastern societies today, people will use a search engine when they don't have answers to questions or solutions to problems that they have presented with them in their life. So if we look at the home buying process as this series of intents, or it's actually a series, we have one intent, which is to buy the house. Maybe our intent is to buy the house for something else, but that doesn't really matter. Just in terms of our journey from starting the process as a high quality borrower that knows that they have the money and the credit in order to obtain this house that they want. If we look at the buying process as a series of decisions, which it is, if you look at it that way, it's maybe first we look at school districts. Maybe we're moving somewhere we're not completely familiar with. If we don't have a person in our life that we trust who has credible information about that specific thing, whether it's school district or homes that are available, people in today's world, they use a search engine to obtain that information. So that's the only place that people use for an intent to. Now, maybe people have shopping websites they use, like maybe they go to Amazon if they want to buy some home goods or something specific that they want to purchase. But if it's a thing that people don't buy very often, they have to check up and see what's available now. It's a very high priced thing, and it's something that people don't buy very often, and maybe they don't particularly like to shop for it. Let's put that parameter on it. People use a search engine to figure it out because, one, people don't want to talk to a person that might be financially motivated to have them make a decision they don't want to make. Two, they get better information from a wider variety of sources by using a search engine. Three, if the person's under like 26 years old, they've been using search engines to get all of their information since they were in like first grade. So, but my mom uses search engines. It's a thing that most people in today's world do for all their info. You can't operate an Android or an iPhone without an email or a search engine attached to it. So search engine traffic is the only traffic that's actually of all possible attention sources that could be inquiring for about our mortgage solution or the assistance that we have to offer to their mortgage buying, their home acquisition process, the loan acquisition process. The only way that we can attract attention from borrowers who are showing intent is if we get search engine traffic. Intent is everything. So consider what your audience is doing. Again, in anything they're doing in life. When they're driving down the highway, there's billboards. And if you have a product like some liquor or something people can just go out and get, at any point, that's okay. Does it make sense to go put your mortgage business on the billboard? It depends on your situation. If you're Quicken Loans, or if you're in a position where you have all the bases covered and you're getting search engine traffic and you've maximized that outlet because that's where the intent's coming from, you can go put ads wherever you'd like. Once you have enough, you have to have the search engine traffic though. That's the foundation of everything because that's where people show intent to obtain solutions and information that they don't have right now. So understand that. Here's the other thing. If there's a perceived threat level that can be associated with any kind of ad that we put out, basically our call to action has a perceived threat level. This is not really the most scientific graph here that I'm showing you, but it makes sense for this purpose. When the home shopping process begins, maybe let's say this is a 3-month or a 5-year process. If we were to hit this person who has protected their credit from being pulled unnecessarily, who goes out of their way to protect their identity, who is not trying to have multiple disclosure processes, who hasn't found a home yet, so they're not trying to get preliminary stuff done. They know they can get finance. The threat level of something to fill out an app, if they haven't found a house and they don't have all those other things going on, very, very small. Not if we're going after the high quality borrower. The closer that once they've got a contract on a home, that's when they're going to go. And if somebody in their life has not said this is the person to use or this is the answer to that question, and said it in a way that this person is fully on board and trusts what the advice that they've been given, if that hasn't happened, guess where they go and look for the answer to whatever it is they're dealing with along this entire process? They go to a search engine to get the information. It's the same. It goes every avenue of life. That's how it works right now. So let's talk about how this works in terms of traffic that has shown intent versus traffic that has not shown intent, and then other types of traffic. So if we were to break down this whole high quality mortgage lead situation, the way I like to look at it is really a 2-tier kind of thing. It's like give active reciprocity efforts to give realtors the resources they need to grow their businesses in exchange for them kind of filtering the timeline. That's the way to look at it, is like this buying process that this prospect is going through. They can work with them until they're ready and then send them back to you. So now you're not having to deal with them through this long process of trying to keep up and, send them long drip campaigns and all this stuff. So it's either help the realtors with business by having something to give them, not by just going like every mortgage person in the world, just going and asking for business. If you're doing that, you probably already know it doesn't work. You have to have something to give them. So all of my iFunnel clients get Facebook lead generation campaigns. I've used to generate many, many thousands of real estate leads for people all across the country. I'm not interested in taking on Facebook advertising as my primary means of business, because it's ultimately not what produces mortgage leads. It's what produces real estate leads. It can. And so you set these tools up for the realtors, give them signs, you're maximizing their visibility, help them be visible and be relevant and competitive in today's market in ways that they are not doing right now. That's what we're doing. And so the other side of that is to generate leads ourselves without going through this whole process. Now, if we want to do this, it kind of boils down to catching people at the right time with the right message. And how do we go about that? First, we're going to talk about human intention that is looking to solve problems or answer questions, because ultimately that is a primary criteria in order for us to have the opportunity to catch a high quality borrower. If we're targeting traffic that has not shown intent to solve a problem or answer a question, then what are we doing? Because that's the only traffic we should actually be ultimately concerned with. But we have to go after the other traffic too, because it's indirectly tying back into the same thing. So I'll break that down. So people who use Google or Bing are the only people that are showing intent to solve a problem or answer a question regarding their specific needs. Now on Quora, Reddit, people will go on there and ask questions. They're researching. They're not showing intent to actually obtain this thing though. So if somebody's going on, and doing preliminary research, yes, Quora and Reddit are a great place to go on and learn. But they're not where people aren't going to go on Quora or Reddit to shop their mortgage solution. That's the difference. I'm talking about specific intent to actually obtain this thing. People are not going to go, there's going to be a point where somebody's going to have their final question that they come to. I mean, it's like, okay, I made up my mind. I've kind of, if they have money, they're a quality borrower. Maybe there's one thing in their head that they need to kind of just figure out. They're going to make one little last search for it. And then if this person's in a position to make their decision from there, then they'll proceed, and maybe they don't find you through the content. Maybe they find you, it's not necessarily a linear process. Maybe they go to the Google local ads. So like if we go here, I just put in mortgage Oklahoma City. If we go here, we can see these are the paid click ads. These are the local list. These are the Google My Business listings. And then this is the organic search results. Now, right now, I just have mortgage in here. If I were to ask a question like, what's the difference in 15-year financing versus 30-year mortgage home? See, people search for things crazy like this. So you're going to get this big answer that's highlighted, and it may not be exactly precise. And then you're going to get people who have created content about this stuff. Now, the more specific, this is a pretty basic question, but the way that we do this is we target it with, so California. And so what you want to do is create content that is directly related to this, so people can go on and see these websites that have created content for this. That's how we get ranked on here. And that's a very basic question. The more in depth and kind of in the life of, because people search for things so much different. It's something like 90% of searches are unique. So the more that you just get your voice out there about providing value, the more opportunity you have. These are your signs. So whenever you are not closing at business, you should be figuring out how to get more signs out and have more opportunity, because ultimately that's what this all comes down to. And if we were to look at all of the avenues to get the search traffic here, these are the paid, these are the free, and then the value content. Now, whenever we create content, we want to share it. So people are actually not only going to find this through Google, we want to share it on Reddit. We want to link to it on Quora. And we also want to share it through all our social media outlets. So sorry, it's a little confusing, but it's basically this content is the key to all of it. We're just sharing it through here. And then as traffic comes back to the actual page, then they're either going to be engaged with a chatbot, or they will go to a landing page, or they'll just be remarketed, targeted with or tagged with a remarketing and Facebook pixel tag. So it basically says, this person that was on this page, now we can set up campaigns to remarket to them, bring them back to the landing page, try to funnel their intent again, and get an opportunity to speak with them. So this is for specific intent-based traffic. Now, the Google local ads is paid placement. So some of these are highly underutilized sources, but if we go mortgage, OKC, we can pay for placement here. So it'll show that it's an ad. We don't want to do this if we don't have our credibility optimized on our site, though. So we don't want to pay for a position here if we have 0 reviews, or if we have a bunch of 1-star reviews. All that's going to do is show that you don't have the credibility that some of these other ones do. So you have to have everything in line. Then you have to have them go to a website designed to actually engage the traffic that's coming. So that is the key to this. You're optimizing your position in front of people who are showing intent. They're using search engines. So like I said, this will become simple once you get it. It's all about search engine traffic, the whole thing. But we have to use these other avenues in order to optimize our search engine traffic, because we have to have more engagement on the content. That's one of the ways Google decides how relevant the content is to people in the first place. So this is the intent base. If people go on Craigslist, they're looking to buy something. There's a lot of people that post on Craigslist. So staying relevant there or staying on the loop. There are some apps you can use possibly to try to hack that, but there's also a lot of other people using those as well. So I just be wary about where we spend our time doing some of that stuff. The content is essential. It shows your credibility, your authenticity, and it also shows how you've dealt with situations. You want to create content that talks about real stuff and real situations. You don't want to just go hire writers and not give them direction on that. Now, a couple of these are grayed out, which I'll get to in a second. These avenues are not showing specific intent to obtain mortgage financing. So somebody might go on Quora, like I said, and they might go and research. They will go and research on there. People will go on Reddit and they'll research. When people go on social media, they're doing other stuff. Maybe they research a little bit on there too, see what people are saying. People are not showing intent when they do this. Now, there's a couple exceptions, the grayed out things here. This isn't exactly black and white in all of these scenarios. So I wear contacts, and I still do this old school way, but I go and whenever I need to get contacts, I usually wait too long. So usually my prescription is gone by the time I go and need them. So I end up calling my eye doctor I've been going to for years and years. And I call them, I make an appointment, I go see them, I order my contacts there, so I don't even have to mess with it. And it makes it easy on me. I've never searched for contacts before. I've just been going to this eye doctor forever. But every night before I go to bed, I tell my dog that I'm going to take out my contacts. Don't ask me why. I just talk to my dog, and that's what I do. And so I tell her that every night, and every day on my phone, I get notification. Well, I get a full screen ad that says ready to move on from contacts and live a clear, have a clear future ahead or whatever. And it takes up my entire screen. I'm not even in any kind of app. I've never searched for that before. They're listening. They're listening to everything. And there's a couple YouTube examples of live demonstrations of this where there's one I saw that was very interesting. This guy just shows up a piece of paper. He's written dog treats on it. He's like, I don't have one of these. I've never talked about this, talking about the treats. And he's like, I just want to do a little experiment and see how this works. So he pulls up, he's showing his screen, and he basically pulls up this website that has a directory of sites on it. And you can find this too. I'll try to link to it if I can find it below. And he goes in and he opens up all these sites, and he's looking at that. We're looking at the ads that are on the pages. And it has nothing about that. He's like, I've never talked about this. There's no reason I should be advertise this. I've never looked for it before. And so he closes out all the browser. He's like, okay, so I'm about to start talking about this. So he's like, if there was anything I could buy right now in my life that would make me so happy right now, it'd be dog treats. I just need to get dog treats for my new dog. And I want to get some of those Kong toys. And I would, dog treats. I need to buy some dog treats right now. That'd be so awesome if I had some dog treats. And then he opens it back up his browser. And I'm sure his phone was in the room somewhere. Now, every time you give them the okay on their terms and conditions, you're agreeing to everything they say in that contract. So, using your voice as for your microphone, whether or not you're using the app, is one of the things that you opt into whenever you get into this Google business. So that's just where we're at in the world right now, whatever it is. So, so he opens back up the window, and all the websites he goes to, he opens back up the same websites. They all have dog treats listed on all of them. Then he's like, man, I kind of, hope that this wouldn't work, but it does. And I don't really know what else to say about that. So, live demonstration. Now I've looked to see, I'm like, why wouldn't Facebook do that? Now I can't find any evidence that Facebook does it. If you go on that Snopes website, it will say that Google, no, I think it just talks about the Facebook thing, whether or not Facebook does it. I don't know why people are so concerned about Facebook and not Google, but whatever. I think it's because it's a social media thing versus this thing where you get information and it makes it different somehow, whatever. So that said, are you showing intent when Google shows you display ads? These ads I was talking about for the dog treats he saw were display ads. You can't filter this right now. So I've run display ads. You can't go on, to my understanding, there's not a way to go on and say, I want people who are talking about stuff. Because if you can do that, then there's a way to possibly filter so that you could only show it to people who showed intent. But the thing is, if people aren't actually talking about it, then they're targeting people based on their behavior, going to other similar websites and looking for other similar things. But we always have to keep into consideration that threat level, because if people are not showing intent, like social media, for instance, or if we can assume based on the situation that they're on a social media website, they've been defined as somebody likely to purchase a home, maybe their first time home or whatever. That person hasn't shown intent. So we have to reel back the threat level in order to get more people opted into whatever this offer is that we're doing. We can't go for fill out this app because most people in the group are not ready for it. Display ads, this needs a little bit more testing. I'll be more than happy to test on your account. Right now we're doing our beta group for iFunnel and going super well. But I'd be more than happy if you're watching this and you get signed up. I'll be more than happy to, on at least like the gold plan or better, I'd be more than happy to try some display ads on your account. No additional charge. You have to pay for your ads, but I believe that there's an opportunity here with the but it needs to be tested. It doesn't require a huge budget to test it, but it does need to be tested. So Gmail ads is kind of a similar semi-creepy thing, but not really. You're not really spying on people's email, but what you are doing is you are finding words that are in other emails that this person is getting in their inbox. So let's say that we figure out what the emails say when people receive property listings from a certain broker or through the listing system or whatever. We can go and target Gmail ads that go specifically to people who receive those titles or words in their inbox on other emails. And we can show them at the very top of their Gmail inbox will be aligned with our ad on it. People click it, then there's like a little image that shows, and then there's like some brief text, and then they have to click again, then they go to a landing page, and then you can have them opt in. And so, or use a chat bot would actually be the ultimate way to do that. So it's like, maybe the person has an intent in their life to obtain mortgage financing because they are receiving similar emails, but they're not showing it specifically right at this time. So we just have to kind of consider that as we figure in our threat level and wherever it is that we're sending this traffic. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of that. Be sure to leave comments down below, or if you have any questions, let me know. From here, like I said, the value driven content should be shared everywhere that we can share it. And people will go here, and then it kind of just takes them through this getting tagged. They interact or they don't interact. If they bounce, then we remarket to them. We send them to landing pages. Then we filter their intent, and we're basically taking them through this process of getting them to schedule a call, fill out a short form, try to call now, request a call back would be another one. However we do that, we're getting leads on the other end of this. So that's the objective. It might seem like more work. It is a lot of work, but it's better. Depending, well, I can't say better. It's this is a direct way of generating leads. This is how leads are generated, by the way. I don't know. I haven't found a source where somebody's just broken this down. And honestly, I don't know how many people could have maybe broken it down prior, but and I apologize if people have. This is just how leads are generated. It's all about giving value that attracts the right audience into, whether it's in the form of software or a tool they can use or information or resources or whatever. It's all about attracting attention and then getting the attention to agree to something further and opt into the system. That's what generating leads are. So that's basically it. Whether that call to action, that last part of the process is to, ask for a call back or to get some kind of free lead magnet download that's available on the site, like guide to buying a home in whatever state you're in, or like whatever kind of cheat sheet you have available, something like that. Because sometimes people aren't going to be ready to take the next step. They're just doing preliminary research, and you want to be able to accommodate people at all levels. If people don't want something that goes direct for the fill out an app right now, or to even schedule a conversation, you also want to be able to accommodate other people, and that's where lead magnets come into play. So the other thing to this would be roadside visibility. We're maximizing visibility where people are showing intent, where people are not showing intent, and on the road, you want to be as visible to people as possible in this way that's relevant to solving potential problems that they have or answering specific questions that they have. And so if people are driving, you can put up roadside signs and maximize your visibility in a way that maybe people text to opt in and they get a series of questions, or maybe it takes them to a landing page. There's all kinds of ways to do this. But when I was a loan originator with United Built Homes, in the first couple months, I became a top producer in about 13 offices. And all I did was, well, one, I worked under an incredible mentor. But what he taught me, which is coming to full circle, coming into this iFunnel situation, is that when we're not writing up deals, we put up signs. That was it. So basically, throughout the week, we go out to these rural areas. What we were doing is taking land equity that people had established. Maybe they were gifted some land or they had equity in land, however. And we would roll in that equity into a new construction loan, and we would basically build a custom home on their property. We would finance the construction part, and hopefully they would be able to then roll that into permanent financing later on. And so the process of obtaining leads for us in that business was just a matter of simply going out and putting out signs. We had these signs that said, build a home on your land with no money down. And then it would have the disclosures at the bottom, have a big phone number on it on both sides. And it was these thick plastic signs. And we would go and put them on the other side of this long wood post, had pretty heavy duty stuff. And we go out there with this huge mallet, and we would just, I think we stapled the plastic. Yeah, I think that sounds right. Stapled or used some kind of way of sticking it onto the post because it's get windy around here. And then we go and just nail this mallet, use this huge hammer to nail this, to stick this thing in the ground. And it was in there when they go in. And then we'd also nail them up on telephone poles. And basically we would get as much visibility around rural parts of the state as possible. Now, the city would come pull them up. People would come pull them up. But sometimes you would have some sitting out there for a long time, and all it was visibility. We're just maximizing our visibility in front of people who might be in a position to utilize our services. That's it. And that's what we're doing with all of this. It's putting up signs whenever you're not writing up deals. Today, our signs are in the form of people who are getting in front of people who are using searches to obtain information or answer questions that we have the answers and solutions to. We can actually put out physical signs if you have a way to go about using this for your particular products. I don't know if the USDA program is alive and healthy right now. I don't have any clients working on that right now. But if you have a program like that and you're in a rural area, you might rewind this if you need to, but go back and consider how you can maximize your curbside visibility in front of your office even. You can try balloons, like anything to bring attention to where you are is great, but the intent-based traffic that is specifically shown intent to find you and your solutions, that's what we have to focus on here. And that's really what this whole thing is about. So if you get in with iFunnel right now, we're going to handle all the heavy lifting for you, 60-day money-back guarantee. What does that mean? It means we work together for 60 days, and we'll spend all the time getting you up and running, from a website to a chatbot, getting your form set up, do all this stuff. If you want to refund, if within 2 months you're not happy with what's happening, understanding that it's going to take time to get traffic from your website. If you're not happy within 60 days with the way things are going, then just refund and we'll eat the time and resources. You can keep the Facebook ads that we give you. You can keep all the other stuff. We will take back the assets that we're creating because it ultimately isn't something we can manage at that point. But that's the way that this is set up. We are providing you we're handling the heavy lifting for you so you can have a system in place designed to bring leads in. If you're looking for mortgage leads, then that's the wrong mindset to be in because you can never get out of that mindset. Think about that. If you are seeking mortgage leads and you've been doing so for a long time, if you continue to do that, you will never be in a position where you don't have to seek them anymore because you're not spending your efforts building a system that over time will be able to increasingly attract business to you versus you having to go out and find it. So just think about that. That's the last note for today. And I'll roll out a part 3 here soon. Thank you for watching. This is Mitch Smith with iFunnel, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.